The Anfal Lobby, 1986 to 1989. A ruthless section in Kurdish history. The Anfal Lobby, which occurred from 1986 to 1989 in Iraq, remains as quite possibly of the most obscure section throughout the entire existence of the Kurdish public. This tactical activity, organized by Saddam Hussein's system, was set apart by its fierce and precise mission of savagery, prompting the passings of an expected 100,000 to 182,000 Kurds. In this story, we will dive away from plain sight, unfurling, and consequence of the Anfal Lobby, revealing insight into the frightening encounters of the Kurdish populace during this period. Authentic setting. To comprehend the Anfal Lobby, we should initially consider the authentic setting wherein it happened. Iraq, under the dictator rule of Saddam Hussein, was a nation described by political restraint, inner difficulty, and international pressures. The Kurdish populace, gathered principally in northern Iraq, had a long history of looking for independence and acknowledgement for their social and political privileges. Be that as it may, their goals frequently conflicted with the focal government's targets. Saddam Hussein's ascent to power. Saddam Hussein's rising to drive in Iraq was set apart by a heartless union of power and concealment of contradiction. After becoming president in 1979, Saddam tried to keep up with his grasp on the different and irritable country through a blend of political moving and military power. His system was portrayed by outrageous ruthlessness and a status to utilize viciousness to quietness resistance. The Kurds in Iraq. The Kurdish populace in Iraq, containing different gatherings and groups, had a long history of looking for independence. They were in many cases minimized and persecuted by the focal government, which looked to keep up with its command over the Kurdish areas, their assets, and their kin. The irritating issues encompassing Kurdish independence and freedoms would assume a critical part in the occasions that would prompt the Anfal Lobby. Setting off variables. The Anfal Lobby was not a confined occasion but rather the summit of a progression of variables and occasions. One of the key setting off factors was the Kurdish opposition development's endeavors to declare its independence and privileges. The Kurdish Peshmerga, guerrilla contenders, tried to challenge Saddam's system in the last part of the 1970s and mid-1980s, prompting a progression of conflicts in the Kurdish locale. The Iraqi government's reaction to these difficulties was merciless, and it included mass captures, dislodging, and execution of Kurdish activists. The beginning of the Anfal Lobby. The Anfal Lobby formally started in 1986 and went on until 1989. Its name is gotten from Surat al-Anfal in the Quran, and that signifies the crown jewels of war. The Iraqi government, under Saddam Hussein's bearing, started this mission determined to annihilate Kurdish obstruction and getting command over the northern districts of Iraq. The mission's merciless strategies. The Anfal Lobby was portrayed by a scope of merciless strategies utilized by the Iraqi government. Mass captures and removal. The Iraqi military gathered together Kurdish regular folks, frequently whole towns, and effectively moved them to detainment camps, where they got through filthy, everyday environments and torment. Substance assaults. The utilization of compound weapons, especially in the town of Halabja in 1988, brought about the passings of thousands of Kurds and brought experiencing the impacts of synthetic openness. Mass executions. A great many Kurdish everyone were executed in mass killings completed by the Iraqi military. Annihilation of towns. Whole Kurdish towns were deliberately obliterated to keep the populace from returning, and their homes and occupations were decreased to rubble. Worldwide reaction. The Anfal Lobby didn't be ignored by the worldwide local area. Reports of the abominations committed by Saddam Hussein's system started to arise, inciting judgment from different quarters. Notwithstanding, the worldwide reaction stayed restricted, as international variables and the continuous Iran-Iraq war affected the position of numerous countries. Consequence and heritage. As the Anfal Lobby finished up in 1989, the Kurdish populace had persevered through monstrous torment, with a critical death toll, relocation, and obliteration. The survivors confronted the overwhelming test of reconstructing their networks and lives. Proceeding with battle for independence. In spite of the revulsions of the Anfal Lobby, the Kurdish public proceeded with their battle for independence and acknowledgement of their social and political privileges. This would prompt further struggles and dealings in the years that followed. Kurdistan local government. the repercussions of the Anfal lobby assumed a critical part in the foundation of the Kurdistan Territorial Government, KRG, in northern Iraq, which was formally acknowledged as an independent substance inside the Iraqi state soon after the 2003 U.S. drove intrusion of Iraq. Preliminaries and responsibility. In the post-Saddam time, endeavors were made to consider those answerable for the Anfal lobby responsible for their violations. A few high-positioning individuals from the system were placed being investigated, including Saddam Hussein himself, who was at last executed. Helpful and mental effect. The Anfal lobby left a significant philanthropic and mental effect on the Kurdish populace, with survivors and their relatives conveying the scars of this dull period in their set of experiences. The Anfal lobby, with its severe strategies and broad misery, stays a difficult part throughout the entire existence of the Kurdish public and Iraq overall. It fills in as a sign of the results of uncontrolled tyranny and the significance of global mediation notwithstanding gross common liberties infringement. While the Kurdish populace has taken critical steps in the years since the Anfal lobby, the scars of this awful period keep on molding their aggregate memory in their continuous battle for independence and acknowledgement.